Our next speaker is an accomplished director, dramaturge, writer, and cultural animator who has collaborated with innovative theater visionaries and interdisciplinary artists for the past 25 years. Through Urban Inc., she has found a home to articulate, cultivate, and realize a vision for theater that encourages Indigenous ways of knowing as a stepping stone to creative expression. Her celebrated personal legacy process has birthed new interdisciplinary works across Canada, throughout the Americas, in the UK, Europe, Africa, and the Caribbean. You can catch Urban Inc. in production with Confessions of the Other Woman. It's opening tomorrow night at the Performance Works at Granville Island. A steamy, complex, and visceral ode to love. Please welcome Diane Roberts.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night, hey-ah, hey-ah, hey-oh, take these broken wings and fly. She moved across the world, known and not known, Indigenous and not, in exile and not, landing, knowing and not knowing. Ever since I can remember, I've wandered, wondering what it would feel like to walk in someone else's feet, not shoes. Shoes seems too easy, but feet. How do I find my feet? Walking in the footprints of those who have gone before. I moved to Vancouver 4 years ago to take over Urban Inc. Productions, an interdisciplinary theater company founded in Indigenous values. Without appropriating, without ignoring the legacy I carry, without imposing my story on the many stories that come from this land, I arrived with 3 burning questions with respect to my Indigenous self. Question 1, if indigeneity were linked to water instead of earth, how would that change the language of ownership or one's sense of rootlessness? I speak here of recovering our ritual practices and gatherings and understanding our past through our bodies in order to heal our future. Our bodies naturally make images consciously and unconsciously. This is not only for communication, but in response to our environment, our history, our experience, our needs and desires. The African storyteller has often been described as a chameleon. Sing out the tempo of locato, turn left then right. She, he changes with the shape of each story by bending his, herself in service. This ability to adapt one's essence, one's very being, can have both positive and negative implications. What if, for example, the story carries you across the ocean against your will in the dank and dark hold of a vessel headed for a new world, for example? Adapting to this story might require you to actively and forcefully forget, minimizing the horrors of the dehumanizing journey. In this crossing, the chameleon storyteller may have become the vessel, the hold, the rats, the stagnating excrement plastering the floors and walls, and yet, suppressing the screams, she, he will speak of rivers, suppressing the stench, the whip, the oppressor's fist and dick, and still rise. Forgetting in the new world becomes not only a strategy for survival, but a rite of passage. And my story begins here, in Canada, in residues and conjecture, searching for clues in the land I now call home. I imagine the unimaginable. Question 2. Drawing on the spirit of our ancestors and the shared world, how do we retrieve the commonality that is at the base of our experience? I speak here of a pursuit of personal legacy as an indigenizing process, which connects to respecting the land we come from and the place we land. When we put ourselves into a situation where and when our creative bodies and breath and voice and mind can thrive, a state of letting go, we begin to tap into an abundant source of information. We carry a legacy. When we carry our own weight, we carry our full potential. Inspiration can be found on the land we traverse, in the residues, footprints left by our ancestors. We need to learn to let go of listening the way we've been taught, and let go of seeing the way we've been taught. Question 3. How do we consciously recognize new places of commonality, and what is the role of the unconscious? The personal legacy process allows us to poke holes in the veil between the seeing world and the unseen one. Through training, focus, and support, we are able to capture ancestral stories trapped in our cells, not just our muscles and bones. And by doing so, we bind ourselves to a continuum of time. Possibly, as a result, we bind ourselves to each other, the creation of a village. St. Lucian poet Derek Walcott said in his 1992 Nobel laureate speech, "Break a vase, and the love that reassembles the fragments is stronger than the love which took its symmetry for granted when it was whole. The glue that fits the pieces is the sealing of its original shape. And if the pieces are disparate, ill-fitting, they contain more pain than their original sculpture, those icons and sacred vessels taken for granted in their ancestral places. We must fine-tune the balance between projecting our own experiences on all our relations and separating ourselves from the shared encounter. We carry a legacy. When we carry our own weight, we carry our full potential. We reach this potential when we open our mind's eye to all that we hold. We realize through recognizing our shared legacies that we live in an intersection of time between past, present, and future. We carry story. We make story. We witness story. In the environmental movement, we learn about reducing our carbon footprint. In ceremony, we learn that we must deepen our footprint, step fully into the story, and let it unfold around and through this. We honor each other's ancestries, rituals, protocols, values, as well as become better aware of the intersections, commonalities, and differences across communities. There are stories. Under skin, mingled in blood, buried in bones and breath. We have a responsibility to carry these stories, deepen our footprints, and provide a clear path for those that follow. Thank you.